Well, hello. This is Father Fish. I need to do an upgrade on the Ick video and therapy for Ick. Nothing really is wrong with the earlier video, but it lacks a couple of pieces of information that I think are especially helpful. Very small, not tiny, but very small white spots sprinkling the body are the clearest evidence of ick. Let me give you an idea of what that looks like. Can you see the white spots? Let me bring another one up. Here's a good example. This Oscar is really covered in ick. This is a sufficiently serious, severe infestation of parasites that this fish probably did not survive it. Each one of those spots represents a single ick parasite. Now, the white spot is not the parasite. The white spot is the waste from the parasite because the parasite is burrowed into the fish and is like a vampire, literally sucking it dry. When it reaches this stage, it's almost impossible to pull the fish back because it is so severely depleted of bodily fluids. At this stage, with this neon, that is eminently treatable. Let's see if I can find one more. Here's a goldfish that has spots on it. Good example of ick. Notice they're both on the fins and on the body. And then one more. Here's a betta with fins, with spots mainly all over the fins. The pectoral fin and the tail fin, dorsal fin, ventral fin, kind of all over the fins. So there's ick. That's what that little bugger is all about. So how do you treat this? Well, the predilection, the natural inclination is to look for some kind of drug therapy or medicinal therapy that will kill the parasite. And there are a number of them, and they work effectively. Unfortunately, they are broad spectrum toxins. Malachite green, Malachite green is one of the most popularly used, and formalin is another. Quick Cure is made of both malachite green and formalin. Both are extreme toxins. Now, what does that mean? That means when you put them in your tank, they kill not just the ick after it drops off of the fish. It also kills all of the microfauna, the microscopic life that is in your tank. It also kills all of the bacteria that is in your tank. In other words, it turns your tank into a wasteland. Now, if you're treating a bare tank, you have the fish in a bare tank, that's an okay thing to do. You can treat it that way, keeping in mind that it also is significantly stressing the fish itself. Well, there is an easier way, a much less stressful way, and a much more homeopathic way, if you will. And that is to simply raise the temperature to between 86 and 87 degrees. The real number is 86.4 Fahrenheit, which is about 30 degrees centigrade. If you will raise it to that temperature, leave it there for 2 to 3 days, the ick will disappear. It'll be gone. During that time, you need to check the fish for stress. You've raised the temperature, it could have an effect on the fish. The effect would be primarily a drop in dissolved oxygen. You'll note that that's the case if the fish is breathing heavily or if it's hanging at the top, or for that matter, laying on the bottom. If you see that kind of thing happening, get an air stone in there, increase the aeration, move the water around. That'll allow O2 to dissolve into the water and CO2 to release from the water. While you're doing this, if the fish are still moving around relatively healthy and are eating, you might crush a clove of garlic, crush it, smash it up, and put part of it in the tank. Don't put it all in unless you've got a mighty big tank with a lot of fish. Put part of it in. You want them to eat it. If they will eat that garlic, it will get into their system. It'll drive the parasites out from their body. And will, once the parasites get out, of course, the heat's going to take care of them. So you can do that. It'll also clear up any bacterial infection internally that the fish have. One of the significant side effects of ick is bacterial infection because it creates wounds on the body. So it's a good idea to treat that as well. And a good treatment for it is just that, is garlic. It may not work if there's a substantial infection, but it will prevent that substantial infection from occurring. Now, keep in mind that if you have a tank that is heavily planted and a tank that has deep substrate, it is critical to treat in this manner, to treat with heat and adding some garlic. Do not treat a deep substrate planted tank with either a toxic medication or with salt. The salt will kill the plants and it will kill the bacteria and microfauna in the substrate, which will leave you with a swampy mess. If you have ick and you have treated for several days with heat, the ick will drop off, it will disappear, and you can naturally reduce the temperature then by simply turning the thermostat down in the heater mechanism to 82 degrees. There is another treatment for ick, and that is using salt. There are two reasons to use salt. One, if the ick does not respond to heat treatment, then you have one of the rare forms of ick that are impervious to heat. To date, they are not generally not encountered in the tropical fish hobby. We've really not found them anywhere. They do occur in farm situations and in farms where a large vat, 1,000-gallon vat, has ick in it. There is no way to treat that with heat. And what is recommended by the veterinarians and the biologists who work with farmers is to treat with salt. The salt treatment is 1/8 of a cup of salt per gallon. If there is no improvement by day 2, improve the dosage by another 1/8 of a cup per gallon. Now, you can do this if you remove your fish to a bare tank with an air stone. You want to have lots of variation. If you cannot get the heat up and you don't want to treat the tank with heat, you may remove the affected fish, put them in a hospital tank, a bare tank with an air stone, and treat with salt at the 1/8 cup per gallon rate. In 2 days, it should clear it up. If it does not, then add another 1/8 cup. At that point, you're at a 1/4 of a cup per gallon. You are at a brackish level. Full salt would be a 1/2 cup per gallon. So you're pushing it pretty hard. The fish may react negatively to that. If they begin stressing, you may need to drop that down by adding water to it and reducing the salinity. Nevertheless, it should work. Now, an important caveat is to never put fish food in a hospital tank. Absolutely never. It will create an ammonia bloom that will kill your fish. Never treat a fish while it's being treated. Never feed a fish while it's being treated. So, if the fish fails to respond to heat and ick persists, remove the fish to a bare tank with an air stone and add 1/8 cup per gallon. You can add another 1/8 cup. I would do less. I would do another 1/4 cup. Just kick it up a little bit more. The ick parasite is a freshwater parasite, and it will not survive salt. After 3 days, allow the temperature in your tank, if you're using heat, to drop naturally. Never force the temperature down with ice or increase the temperature with hot water. In other words, don't suddenly force the temperature either higher or lower. Let it move naturally. Let the heater do its work. Let the ambient temperature do its work so that there's a gradual shift. That way the fish can adjust to it gradually. So those are the basic tips and tricks for dealing with ick. Try to catch it as quickly as you can. Be alert to those few spots on an ick. And if you see it, get that temperature up right away to 86 degrees. You'll save yourself a lot of trouble and you'll prevent the fish from dying. 1 week of ick untreated will kill every fish in the tank. So it's pretty critical. You don't want this to happen to your fish. That's been going on in that tank or that container with that betta for 3 to 4 days. This is a secondary infection. In other words, the original ick have dropped off, reproduced. The little ones have come up and attached themselves to the fish. This lasts for 2 to 3 days. By the 4th day, they have dropped down, they've multiplied, and come back up. So if this happens one more time, that fish is as good as gone. It's important to treat, and important to treat right away when you first see a few spots. Again, I do not recommend treating with toxins. If you're stuck for it, then you absolutely have to do it in a bare tank. Don't do it in your aquarium. If you do, you run the risk of completely destroying your nitrifying bacteria, which is going to reduce the ability of the tank to control ammonia. So there we have it. There's my tips and tricks. Thanks for coming in, tuning in, and being a part of Father Fish. We appreciate it very much. I welcome you to join us on Discord. If you'll go um, to my YouTube page, or look down uh, in the topical index below this video, you'll see a listing for Discord. It'll be on my page in the community tab. Thanks very much. See you soon. Signing off, Father Fish.